So, Mr. Bierman, thank you very much for your time, for finding a time for us today and these extraordinary days. And let me ask you the first question. USAID has a long and a rich and positive history in Georgia, providing the assistance of the U.S. government to the Georgian government, and the assistance has always been very generous. And the partnership and the assistance itself has a greater value in light of the global crisis that we are all in. And I'm interested, how exactly is the US government helping to the Georgian government, and what are the tools in place for the targeting assistance?
Well, thank you, Demna. And first, just let me take this opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to come on and explain exactly what USAID and the United States government is doing. The United States continues to be a very strong and steadfast partner of Georgia and the Georgian people. And I work very closely with David Bakrazi, the ambassador here in Washington, D.C., and we talk regularly. We also have a very strong and terrific team in Tbilisi, led by a great team that's dedicated to this effort. On a personal note, I just wanted to also let you know that I had trips planned out to Georgia this year. And you can bet as soon as this travel restriction is lifted, I'm going to get out to Georgia personally and see firsthand how we can continue to support our strong partnership. But let me talk a little bit about what we're doing. So currently, USAID is supporting Georgia's COVID response in three main ways. First, we have committed 1.7 million in new emergency health assistance. This is supporting things like infection prevention, identification of cases, and communication on public health risks. With these new resources, we're partnering with the International Federation of Red Cross and the Georgian Red Cross Society, which through USAID support is providing food and hygiene supplies, and in some cases, counseling to deal with the trauma associated with the crisis to thousands of Georgian households. Secondly, we're partnering with the government of Georgia so that we can continue to provide essential public services during the pandemic. For example, we've provided software to legal institutions so they can work remotely. We've also modernized online learning resources so that schools and students have readily accessible learning materials to keep the learning process going during this pandemic. And third, USAID is helping Georgia prepare for the economic recovery. That includes working directly with the government on the formulation of that plan. Our support includes working with small and medium enterprises to adapt to the new economic conditions, identifying new financial tools and policies to support the rebound, and working with agricultural producers to meet Georgia's food security needs despite limited transportation options. Regarding e-commerce, we're also working along the lines of both government, non-government, and government, with which we've seen, regarding e-commerce, which we have seen during this pandemic has created a new paradigm for us to explore. USAID is promoting electronic commerce through new and continuing partnerships. One of our new partnerships, in fact, is supporting a new platform for Georgian handicrafts to reach a global market. At a national level, our support also includes working with key government agencies such as the National Tourism Association to develop targeted plans for post-COVID recovery. Georgia is a natural beauty, and tourism is a top priority, which we plan to support. In short, we're going to do everything that we can to get Georgia back on its feet as fast as possible.
Excellent, thank you. My next question is, in my estimation, and you also touched upon on that the USAID is not only working with the government per se, but also with the local foundations, non-governmental organizations, and private sector in partner countries. Can you name any example of that type of cooperation that took place in Georgia? Are you in touch with any local foundation or private sector?
Right. So USAID's approach to assistance relies on strong partnerships, especially during crises like COVID-19. In Georgia, we've reached out to private companies and civil society organizations. And let me just give you a couple of examples. Our civil society program has issued 15 rapid response grants to organizations around the country. These community-based organizations are big and small and encompass a number of different types of activities. To be straightforward, we've been very impressed by how Georgia civil society has risen to this occasion, particularly at the local level, in response to mitigating and the recovery efforts. These grants are specifically helping deliver food supplies to elderly citizens, training healthcare professionals on how to handle cases of the virus, and countering disinformation. We also helped Georgian companies to manufacture packaging for medical masks. With USAID support, local manufacturers are helping the government of Georgia to deliver nearly 1 million masks to communities around the country. And further, we're providing technical assistance to develop businesses or to help businesses to adapt to the new economy. This includes upgrading their information and communications technology and helping packaging companies to deliver and to develop better supply chain management. And finally, on the media front, we continue to partner with independent media at regional and local levels so that they can report accurate information and share government health messaging about the virus. This support includes providing information in ethnic minority languages and supporting local media to do fact-based reporting in communities that are more vulnerable to disinformation.
Excellent. And my last question, sir, will be about the USAID itself. This global crisis and pandemic will inevitably will have the impact of the work on the work of the USAID globally, I'm sure. Are there any internal discussions about the reshaping the assistance for the partner countries in the nearest future, and what impact it would have on the USAID works globally?
Demna, USAID's efforts to help the world combat this deadly virus exemplifies our top priority, which is to help countries become more self-reliant. For decades, the United States has been the world's leading and largest provider of bilateral assistance in global health, and we will continue to do so. Building on these years of laying a strong foundation and preparation, the U.S. government has committed more than $775 million in assistance across the world, specifically aimed at fighting this pandemic. Right now, we are actively assessing what the second order impacts will be for our partners. This includes responding to the impact of on democratic institutions, civil society, the economies, public services, and access to energy. We remain committed, Demna, to helping countries respond to the immediate crisis while continuing to help those same countries advance on their development progress. Let me just emphasize, this commitment remains strong in Georgia, where we have had a deep and enduring partnership. Demna, we are committed to helping the people of Georgia respond to COVID-19. The United States government will continue to work together to support Georgia, their long-term goals, to support their strong economy, and an even stronger democracy. And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today and tell you a little bit about what USAID and the US government is doing in Georgia.